We can start with that. All right, it's called to order. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Excuse me. All right, on roll call, Mr. Ayer. Mr. Bartlett.
Here.
We're going to excuse Susan here in 1 minute. Dr. Lewis. Here. Mr. Vanstone.
Here.
Mr. York.
Here.
All right, a motion and a second to excuse Susan, who I believe is on vacation.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Ayer. Aye. Mr. Bartlett.
Aye.
Dr. Lewis. Aye. Mr. Vanstone.
Aye.
Mr. York.
Aye.
All right, she'll be excused. The minutes, we have 2 minutes from March the 11th, and the special meeting one, which is obviously very short. Questions? Any questions about the minutes? No?
Bill, what about the typo that I traded Rod's name instead of mine?
Oh. I don't think anybody will notice, but,
Okay.
okay.
Rob Holloway?
Rod, no, it doesn't have first name, it just says, let's just put Rod's name in for mine at the bottom of the first page.
Okay. So silly.
All right, other than that, motion and a second to accept.
Second.
Mr. Ayer. Mr. Bartlett.
I will abstain since I was not there for the meeting.
Is this both meetings, including that?
Um,
No,
Just this?
Just the April 11th, right?
just 311.
March 11th.
Yeah, yeah.
And I wasn't there, so I'm abstaining.
Okay.
All right. Dr. Lewis? Aye. Mr. Vanstone?
Aye.
Mr. York?
Aye.
All right, then a motion and a second to accept the minutes of the special meeting.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Please. Mr. Ayer?
Abstain.
Aye.
All right. Dr. Lewis?
I'm sorry. Can you repeat that? I was distracted. Sorry.
This is for the minutes of the special meeting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Aye.
Aye. Mr. Vanstone? Mr. York? Mr. York?
Aye.
Yes.
I thought he just said we were doing both.
Apparently you can't. Got to be, yes, I wanted to do it that way, but
That's what I heard. and
yeah.
that's why I was-
Yeah, I'm sorry. Didn't mean to create any confusion there. All right, in communications, we have the letter from the Arbor Day folks. Looks like we're going to have the tree down at the Madisonville site this year. Pretty much been decided. Any questions?
Do we get a new sign with this?
A new Tree City sign?
Yeah.
Maybe,
Do they send us one? Or
yeah.
I think we get another year.
just put a sticker on it? It's like your license?
License.
Yeah, that's right. Don't let your tags expire. Is there a specific spot down there that's been designated, or are we not there
There is,
yet?
they've already designated the spot. It's going to be held somewhat forward, somewhat closer to the parking lot, as I understand it, than to the back where the pavilion is. And of course, we did have to take down 2 of the trees back there and another 2 that we had limbed up because they were significantly distressed. I don't want to say they were dying, but they were distressed. One had a very bad split in it. A big wind could come and maybe take it down. So anyway, those have been removed now. So it'll be nice to get a new tree, not necessarily in the exact place, but in the general area. All right, I'm going to go out of order here just the teeniest bit. I'm going to skip to Police Chief Hines. He has his monthly report and the annual report. Chief, any commentary about this?
Nothing at this time,
Nothing?
no. Nothing.
Well, you got some
Not
very
even
nice-
your nice little
Got
notes?
some very nice letters there in the
Got some
back.
nice notes.
Standard operating procedure, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's,
I mean, it looks like, in general, I mean,
the
you know,
monthly report,
crime is down, or, I mean, the break-ins, burglaries, it looks like you're closing more of the cases.
yeah, we had another good year, closing cases at 81%, which is absolutely great. And like you said, thefts were down, pretty much met most of the goals that we set out for the year 2023. It was a good
Okay.
year.
Yeah, it was a good year, yeah.
A little down in some of the areas, mostly due to the fact that, we were short-staffed most of the year
Yeah,
last year.
yeah. Do you want to announce that we interviewed the replacement?
Yeah, that's,
Have a
good
very nice
idea.
candidate to replace?
Yeah, well, we gave a conditional offer to Matt Simon today, and hopefully have him up and running here in the next 3 weeks or so. Excited to have him come on. Thanks to you, Mayor, and the council for giving us the okay to do that due to Emily being out.
Yeah. Yeah.
That'll help, and so being able to do that, and then we'll have to, with retirement, we'll have one that we'll have to look to hire toward the end of the
Yeah,
year.
toward the end there. Yeah, he's currently a Cincinnati police officer,
That's correct.
and but he is very familiar with the Mariemont area. Apparently, he coaches football at the high school.
He is
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's one of the assistant coaches at the Mariemont High School football team. So it is a plus. He knows a lot of the kids and a lot of the people in the community, and I've heard nothing but great things from the school and from residents that actually know Matt, so I'm excited for him to come on board. I think he'll be a great asset to
Yeah,
us.
that'd be great. All right, thanks, Chief. All right, we have the email from Chris. This is regarding the needed legislation to get ready to do the bidding for the bike path, the connector. I'm going to move this to Van Stone's committee, where I think it can be reviewed, and you'll make a recommendation then to us.
Wait, I thought it was,
I thought it was going to the safety committee.
You're absolutely right, it is going to the safety committee. I've got it written down right here. Maybe I should read my own writing.
Okay, so
Sorry about that, Bob.
you're changing it to safety?
We're changing it to safety, yes.
Okay.
Apparently Matt is well-versed with the issues, and he will be better suited at
Oh,
doing.
it's bailiwick.
Sorry about that. All right, now, jumping back here just the teeniest bit, we of course have the letter from I know I have it here somewhere.
From the Milford Police?
Announcing the fact that we got the land and water
Oh,
grant.
I was looking at the Milford.
Mary Mertz, I guess is her name. And Randy, I'm going to let you talk about that in a minute, but we got a letter from her announcing that we conditionally basically have been awarded the grant. And then Randy has gone ahead, as the final item under communications, Randy's gone ahead and prepared basically a listing of where we are with other grant applications and so on and so forth, which I know we've all sort of would like to have a listing here to know where we are in the application process, what we're doing them for, the projects, and so on and so forth. Randy, do you want to give us a teeny explanation?
As far as open grants for the next couple of weeks, weeks and months, the first one is the community projects funding. That's the earmarks. We do not have that yet. When we have that available, I will forward it along, and this is earmarks, and essentially can be for almost anything. We did submit for Centennial last year, and if you remember, they funded the Brent Spence Bridge, and we didn't get anything. I've had a number of conversations with Congressman Landsman and with Chris Dalton, so I'm encouraged this year. So when we get that, we'll have to figure out what we apply for and how much we ask for. The next one is the one-time community investment fund that was submitted this week. You've got House capital appropriations, you got Senate capital appropriations. They typically get together. They didn't get together this year and do it, the biannual, they didn't do it this way. The House went ahead and did theirs, and no small projects were included on that, including ours. I spoke to Representative Denson about it, and he advised me to follow up, which we had already been doing with the House, with Senator Ingram's office. So I submitted that application this week, and I had a conversation with them, and it still looks promising. So that one's done, it's in the works. The next one is the Community Development Block Grant. We had a public meeting this at 5 o'clock before this meeting to talk about potential projects. So we will need to decide, this body will need to decide, they want a project or a series of projects for 24, 25, and 26. We did get the mini planning grant for Dogwood Park, and that mini planning grant is typically designed for community development block grants. So my recommendation would be that Dogwood Park would be for 2024, and then the library park for 25 and 26, but we'll need to make that. I've got the applications are produced, they're ready to go.
Ready
All
to
we gotta
go.
do is send them. And we have to have one more public meeting first, so, and that's scheduled, I think, for the 8th. It was interesting, I was on a conference call talking about all this, and they said, put down, you expect to get what you've gotten in the past. Says, well, we've never gotten anything in the past. So I'm optimistic that we'll get something out of this. When I got this, when I got word that we got this grant, I did text Congressman Landsman, because this started with his chief of staff, Chris Dalton, and thanked them for this. I also sent a note to Steve Johns. If you remember, it was Steve Johns from Hamilton County Planning and Development that asked us to submit an application to work with NKU to develop this grant. So he was absolutely delighted that this worked for us, worked out for us. And I actually had a conversation with Darren Wilson today, and I think the mayor and I are gonna get together with them on
The 8th,
the 10th.
10th,
April
10th,
10th, Wednesday, April 10th. We're gonna do a proclamation for them and maybe have some wings. So that was a very positive outcome. We also have the SORTA grants coming up, but I think, Bob, you're on top of that. That's not till May 31st. And then there's a couple of OKI grants that we'll have to connect with Chris on for those grants.
and then, of course, we have the CDEP grant
Yes.
we're hoping to get word on by,
Did you see the communication from Emil today?
I did not.
Okay, so he basically recommended, and he reached out to April at the CDAP, and she recommended that we go for both that and the community revitalization.
The Hamilton County revitalization?
Yes, so both of them.
Go for both?
Yes. Because they won't know till the end of April. So she said there was no penalty and we could go ahead.
Okay.
And we'll
So-
be transparent about that.
So the open community revitalization for this, essentially the same type of support, economic development?
Yes.
I think it's great.
Right. Now, I'm not entirely certain what you were applying for.
No, I've not done, as far as that
Well,
one,
what you would have been, I mean, we would be applying for it to apply to what is going on in the industrial park.
Right.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. So, I mean,
That's great.
I
So
think that's a
since
good
we won't
use.
know about the other for sure, she encouraged us to go ahead and apply, and hopefully we'll get at least one of them, if not both.
Well, we can just keep our fingers crossed.
So Randy, I'm sorry, I have a question. Just
Sure,
on the first one
sure.
again, so what are we thinking about applying for that one? Because you're saying that's pretty gonna come up soon, right, theoretically?
well, we had done the Centennial projects last year, and this is one, and it's pretty consistent with a lot of these. They want to finish it, they want to have plans, they want to have a budget. So I thought finishing the Centennial projects would make most sense for this one.
Okay.
This one, meaning this year in the 3-year phase.
No, no.
No, this is,
the
this is the,
first one.
this is the community, the Landsman earmark.
Landsman earmark.
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
Okay.
That-
So my recommendation would be that we, and it's a pretty simple application, it's not really rigorous at all. And I've had conversations with their office about it, so I would suggest that we present that to finish this project, which is what they like to get out of this.
Yep.
Give us this much money, you put us over the top, we're done.
So Bill, do we need to just go ahead and say, yeah, we're good with that? Because if it's due by the end of this month or whatever, when we're not gonna meet again until second Monday in April.
Well, I mean, part of the discussion that we're having here, yeah, is to decide basically if we're all,
If we're okay with that one.
if for some reason we wouldn't be, I think we would voice that opinion here now.
It's called the Community Projects Funding.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm supportive of it. I just want to make sure everyone
yeah,
else here is
yeah.
aligned.
So last year, they were due on the 15th
Yep.
of March, and I looked again today, and they weren't posted. But my guess is it'll come up and we'll have 7 days to respond.
Okay. All right.
So just, I want to make sure that I have this straight. For the community projects funding, which is federal earmark money that Landsman might help us obtain, we're proposing that we request the funding to close the gap for the Statuary Park project. Is that what we're asking for?
I would say Dogwood, Statuary, and Hopkins.
Yeah, there's
All three.
all three.
And is that okay?
Is that an over ask?
Do they prefer to see one project versus a group? I know you've talked to
Yep,
them
yep.
always about.
It's only the second year. I presented all three, they asked me to present all three last year. They asked me to ask for a $1.2 million last year. I've not had that conversation yet. Maybe we can reconnect by email and say, based upon the latest, here's what they suggest. You know, because obviously what we want it to be as positive and favorable as possible, and not to over ask.
I mean, you think that represents the best approach to applying?
No, I just want to know what we're kind of given the go-ahead to.
To.
Because it sounds like it's contingent on Randy meeting with them, and I'm fine with that, and I support the idea of getting the federal earmark for the Centennial projects. I just wonder if we would be better to ask for a specific project versus a group of three, just because it's simpler and easier to understand. And the grantors seem to like one project.
Simplicity.
That's what,
Well, if that's the case, because with this $500,000 from ODNR, we're, as you know, really close on Dogwood. So I think it would be better to ask for another park which needs more money. But is that then the family statuary, or is that Hopkins? We need more for family statuary. That's our biggest need, because that's the one, as you know, that's been the one that's been tougher to fund.
Well, should that then be the priority project, the first one listed?
It could be,
It
sure.
could be. I mean, switch it around that way?
Bob has a question.
Bob?
As usual, Randy and I talked earlier this evening, and he gave me some information I haven't been able to go through yet. But I just want it to be really clear what we're going for, and we aren't double dipping somehow through these grants. And it's just not clear to me. The other problem I have, and I've expressed it to several people, are with earmarks. I mean, philosophically, you're saying, oh, I want to increase the federal debt, because that's what it is. And I'm saying I personally have a problem. Either you have your principles or you don't. I've had other people say, well, if you don't get it, somebody else will. I understand that. But, you know,
It is a philosophical question and debate. I'm not really certain that we're here to debate that, though. I mean,
I totally understand. I'm
Yeah.
just telling you my opinion, that's all.
okay.
So from a priority standpoint, do we want to do statuary? So you think we've got enough to go ahead and close Dogwood from other places you've got?
Again,
Lines in the
you know
water?
I'm the eternal optimist, but
Yeah, you are.
I think that there's enough asks out there to get us over the finish line.
The statuary, on the other hand, though, is
Not so much.
woefully underfunded at the moment.
Yep.
do we,
Go for that then.
Well, that's kind of what we're talking about.
Yeah.
and just so that council is clear, this grant, should we receive it, has no match requirement. It's just, this is funding for this project. I mean, if we're deciding it tonight, I mean, I would recommend that we pursue the funding to finish the Statuary Park project, just because that's where the greatest need is. And this is, as Randy's pointed out many times, it's got some of these are kind of one-time funding opportunities.
So I agree with you, I'd put that first. I'm okay with saying, as Randy talks to the people who are part of the process and ask their insights or guidance about how do we apply? Is it one only, you know, to your point, let's get their input and pursue based on their recommendation is what I would do.
Yeah, I'm sure he,
I think regardless of how our specific, I think it will be framed as a Centennial Park rehabilitation. I think that's how we'll frame it anyway. Now, if we say this is our target project, I think that's fine. I think that's a good approach. I have no problem with it. I think that's probably the right way to do it.
so we all agree on that?
Makes sense to me.
Okay, all right. Any other comments, discussions then about the grants? I mean, I know it's going to be an ongoing topic in here, you know, and we were, Matt, I believe, is going to hold a committee of the whole meeting where we can further discuss priorities and that type of thing, and projects and matching them up appropriately and so on and so forth. But we're not here tonight to have that discussion.
But this is a big piece to it, deciding
This is a
where
big
the
piece.
earmark is gonna go.
Yes.
And so I think we need to be, you know, as a group, comfortable with the
Mm-hmm.
idea that because of the timing that Randy's gonna be focusing on the statuary park project for this opportunity.
Well, this is your opportunity to tell us if,
No, I'm fine.
I think, are we
Of
fine,
course.
are we not fine? I mean,
I think the folks at MPF will be tickled to death.
yeah, I do too.
Yeah.
But what's the timing? We have to wait for Congress if you get
This,
it.
this could, you don't know. That's, you're right, Bob. That's a question that
And
you don't.
you had 1 week, is what you said, what I thought I
Well,
heard you
last
say?
year when we had about a week, once they finally posted it to get it done. And again, it was posted on the 15th last year, and it was already due. So I don't, my guess is it'll be a short turnaround.
Well, I
I'm
mean,
good with that.
For the application.
Correct.
yeah.
The turnaround to get the grant is TBD.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. All right, so we're all good? Yes. All right. All right, permission to address council. Do we have somebody who wishes to address council?
Wishes to? Oh, no.
Didn't mean to put you on the spot, but
Okay, I'm Mandy from the library, as usual. Let's see, what do we have going on? The Eclipse, we do have an Eclipse program. All library locations will be having one, so ours will obviously be, primarily for the surrounding community. We will have Eclipse glasses that we'll be handing out during the event. We also have a telescope that we have a solar lens for, so you'll be able to watch through the telescope. It's kind of projected, so people can gather around and all see it. So we're pretty excited for that. We've also got a kind of intro to composting program coming up in April. And we have the individual who started the composting program here, Mariemont, as
Right.
well, coming, and she's going to be talking about Mariemont's program too, to try and encourage people to get on board with that as well.
Right.
Oh, yeah, that's about it.
Okay, now, and then what about this touch a truck business?
Yes, yeah, so that's something my youth librarian Carolyn is working on. So that she's looking at for the summer. So hopefully having a fire truck and potentially police involved as well. We'll have popsicles and things and just kind of a nice family activity.
Would we go there or you come here?
They would go to
Come
us,
here?
yes.
Oh, no, we'd bring the trucks over?
Yes,
Yeah.
you got it. Yeah. So the discussion she was having with the fire chief was along Warrior Way there,
Oh, I
parking them
see.
along there and kind of blocking it
Right.
off for traffic so
Yeah.
kids could freely walk through there.
Yeah. I think
Yeah.
Chief, I believe she had a conversation with you about this, correct?
Carolyn McCune, I don't know if she.
Probably with Assistant Chief Copeland, probably.
Yes, yeah, she's been
Yeah.
talking with him.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And he did mention it to me, so
Okay.
we'll be happy to be involved in that and be happy to help any way we can.
All right,
Both-
wonderful.
Both
Yeah.
the police and the fire.
Sounds like
Yeah.
a fun thing for the kids.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, all
All
right,
right.
good,
Okay, well, thank you.
all right. Thanks for coming in.
Mandy, thanks for coming.
Always love to hear what's going on at the library.
Free copies.
Free copies. Yeah. So now it's a youth services what happened to the children's librarian?
Yeah, so the way they had it before, we had two librarians. One was considered a teen librarian and the other a children's librarian.
Uh-huh.
Now they're both just considered youth librarians. And behind that was basically so they can kind of cross-fill in on each other's programs. So we still have a youth focus and a teen focus.
I see,
librarian,
yeah.
but they kind of,
My wife was the children's librarian for like 20 years, so.
It's basically the same.
Yeah, okay, all right.
Just a different title.
All right, all right. Yeah, she loved her job. She loved it, yeah.
That wasn't in Mariemont, though, it was in Loveland, right?
Well, it was with Cincinnati Public Library. I mean, of which they have like 40 branches. Yeah, yeah. See, I know a thing or two. All right, thank you. Do we have an update? Aggregation?
No.
No?
No.
He's here just in case there's some questions about
Okay.
the resolution, and about the emergency nature of it.
Okay, all right. Just checking. I'm sure it was all good. All right, motion to pay the bills. Have any question regarding the bills?
So moved.
Fairly straightforward, I guess. All right, hearing no questions, a motion and a second to pay the bills.
So moved.
Second.
Second, Mr. Ayer.
Aye.
Mr. Bartlett.
Aye.
Dr. Lewis.
Aye.
Mr. Van Stone.
Aye.
Mr. York.
Aye.
All right, we'll pay the bills. And I believe we have one committee report, correct?
It's a big one.
Yeah, the big one. Randy, I think you're up on this, right?
I'm going to apologize for the length. The Health and Recreation Committee met on Monday, March 11th in council chambers. Present at the meeting were Health and Recreation Committee members Randy York, Susan Brown Knight, Matthew Ayer, also in attendance from Mayor Bill Brown, Rod Holloway, and several members of the Mariemont Tree Board and the Mariemont Preservation Foundation. The meeting commenced at 5:32. The purpose of the meeting was to review, 1, the plan to address the roof repair and repainting at the John Nolan Pavilion, 2, the plan to repair the stone base at Living Good Park and to replace the hedge flanking the monument, 3, the plan to repair and/or replace the boathouse roof, 4, the plan and timetable for the restoration and preservation of Concourse Park, and 5, the plan for the crack and fill for the tennis courts in advance of the 2024 season. The committee reviewed 2 quotes to paint the John Nolan Pavilion. The committee requested more specifics and details on each of the quotes to be reviewed in the subsequent meeting. The quote for the roof replacement is pending, and the work to perform the tree work around the structure has been approved. That tree work has now been completed. The committee reviewed plans to repair the stone base at Living Good Park. Quotes for the work are still pending and will be reviewed at a subsequent meeting. The committee discussed options for the hedge that flanks the structure and will work with Jeremy from the Maintenance Department and the Parks Advisory Board for options. The committee will circulate flyers to adjacent homeowners in advance of a committee meeting where the type and location of the hedge may be recommended. The committee reviewed the quote and discussed the history and the current condition of the boathouse roof. The timing of available grants to support the project was also discussed. The committee does endorse the project and requests that it be added to the list of potential capital projects for 2024 and be evaluated in terms of urgency and necessity. The committee reviewed the evolution of the plan for the concourse and reviewed the work completed and the project timeline for the completion of the pergola. The committee agreed to work with the Tree Advisory Board to develop a procedure for the containment and eradication of invasive species, including tree of heaven and honeysuckle. Addressing these invasive species will be given priority before any additional tree work is done. The committee reviewed a request from the Tree Advisory Board to plant a tree at the Madisonville site in the area of the John Nolan Pavilion as part of their 2024 Arbor Day event. The committee unanimously agreed to recommend that the Tree Advisory Board be allowed to plant a tree in that location. Chris Ertl is preparing quote documents to solicit bids for the repairs of the tennis courts. This issue will also be addressed at a subsequent meeting. The meeting adjourns at 6:25. Respectfully submitted, Randy, Susan, and Matthew.
All right, you've heard the report. Do we have any discussion, questions regarding the report?
So Randy, for the boathouse roof, you got the quote, so how, because since we got the permanent improvement meeting later this week, what's the amount?
20, that's an old one. Did you get an update on that one, Matthew?
I do not know. I believe that they'll honor that quote, but I don't have confirmation of that yet. Try to have that by the next meeting.
Well, but again, we have the permanent improvement meeting on Wednesday, so it'd be good to have a good, whatever number we have, we should.
That's what I mean by next meeting, I mean Wednesday.
Got it. Got it.
I think, though, in addition to that, though, there should be a discussion regarding, when should we proceed with that work? That's all.
Yeah, I think our goal was to say that we believe
Right.
it is important. Let's get it on here and let's figure out where it ends up
Yeah.
in the priorities.
Yeah. We should have we're meeting, Randy and I will be meeting with the stonemason tomorrow with the Living Good Park, so we should have something on that. And do we have something on the Nolan Pavilion?
Malloy came out. I sent them an email yesterday with pictures that showed that the trees were down.
Yeah,
I've not heard back.
okay. Well, I'll check with my guy also that he was
Are we-
down there and took a look, yeah.
I realize we have the meeting on Wednesday, but Matt is gonna hold a committee of the whole meeting on priorities. So how do those two mesh?
May I ask a question? When we say a meeting regarding priorities, as far as priorities for projects long-term, projects this year, what are the parameters on this meeting? I
Well,
mean, it's a
usually
valid
our-
question depending on the,
Surrounding the budget meeting, I mean, normally, we have, a limited amount of money, and we must rate the projects that, have the highest need to be accomplished. And we've got leaky roofs, we gotta fix them, and we should be having discussions around that. That's, I believe, what we're talking about in terms of a meeting about what Matt is gonna be doing in the committee of the whole thing, I believe, is a little bit larger scale in terms of trying to match up grant opportunities with projects and prioritizing those things. Am I correct on that?
What my understanding is, to answer that question, is that we have our 2024 budget that these are immediate needs that we will perhaps need to juggle some things around at our budget meeting this week. But then longer term, for some of these larger projects encompassing, we have all these various parks around the community, we have tennis courts, we have the swimming facilities, we have all these things, that the purpose of the committee of the whole meeting would be to draft a general list of priorities that we would, and rack and stack them, so we've got, so that when we have these grant opportunities come up, we first have this list to match our opportunities, the grant opportunities to our desired projects. So that's what I was thinking, so.
And we're ready.
Longer term, it would be the next, several years.
Right.
I don't necessarily wanna say 5 years or 10 years, but these are projects that we'd like to communicate to the public, that we know that these are things that we would like to, complete, and this is what, as a council, we think are the priorities for them.
and on that note, I mean, the finance subcommittee have worked hard on that 5-year capital spending plan. I'm assuming they can tie into one another.
Yeah, they have to match up. One's
Should.
gonna have to align with the other. We may have
Right.
to adjust them both.
I'm just saying,
Yeah.
that can certainly be a very significant tool.
My concern is some of the smaller projects, because we say, oh, that's not much money, but you get 20 of them, and you're not talking about chump change anymore.
Yeah, they add up.
And, I think there's some items that are not on that list that need to be considered, like the street lights and other things. So
Okay.
that's why I was trying to figure where all this is, what order do we do things in? I realize we need to have the meeting on Wednesday, but we need to, there's some other things that probably are not on the appropriate list at this point in time.
Well,
And I think what's important on that, to your point, Bob, is that if you look at the 2024 appropriations, while they may be, they're properly called permanent improvements because they're gonna have a lasting effect. They meet the requirements to be called permanent, to be classified permanent improvements. But if you look at them, they're all basically restoration or repair work that needs to be done. I'm just kind of going down the list, and I don't think there's any one of them that's something other than that.
I agree. That's why I was just trying to, it was a question to just understand and make sure we're doing the right thing, that's all.
yeah. Well, the it's always a debate. I mean,
I understand.
one guy's priority is not the next guy's priority.
I get you.
But I think we all agree on certain priorities. When you've got leaky roofs and gutters and those kind of things, yes, the
Absolutely.
discussion has to be had. Yeah, kind of a thing.
And
All right.
particularly things that either, that will degrade further.
Yeah, right.
If we don't do
You
something
can't
right
let
now.
them, right, you can't let them sit. Randy, one kind of clarification here, if you don't mind. In that second to last paragraph, last sentence in there, where you're talking about giving priority to the invasive species, which I do note that needs work. But then you've sort of followed off there with before any additional tree work would be done. Now, you are aware that Rod and I and others have identified certain trees over at the concourse that are on the backside of the hill that overhang the existing pergola, that I am not comfortable letting that trees or a couple of those stand there for fear that it's going to damage the new work. So I'm saying that there could be a couple of trees there that are going to come down or be limbed up.
I'll say in the spirit, I think, of what this committee intended, we wanted to give those a priority. Now, the latest information that I've received says you don't do anything in those trees, with those trees until after July 1st anyway.
Oh, you mean the invasive
The
trees?
invasive.
Yeah, I read that
So-
material. Yeah,
so,
you're right.
I don't think what you're asking is inconsistent with the spirit of what we're trying to accomplish here.
Okay, okay, yeah.
But removing those trees is contingent on the hillside study, correct?
Well, we have hired a professional engineering firm to determine, yes, the stability of the hillside. What I'm talking about, though, literally at this point, probably is 3 trees that overhang the existing pergola.
Yeah.
And
Have you
that-
had an arborist look at those trees just to establish?
Well, yes, we have had an arborist. Of course, now I know that there's going to be debate about that. I mean, some of the well, in fact, yes, we have had an arborist. The arborist, of course, works for the tree company, and I know there's contention about that. Rod also has tried to contact an independent arborist. He's on vacation right now, and as soon as he gets back, he will complete that communication, and we will have the person, I don't know whether it's a man or a woman, come out and take a look.
Okay,
Yeah. So, yeah, we
just
will.
double checking.
Okay.
So when's the study? I'm really glad you guys are doing the study. I think it's really important. So when is that supposed to be back?
You mean the engineering study?
Yeah, the hillside that Marcy was.
The hillside study.
Yeah.
I believe, we had a preliminary on that, and I believe the final is soon, next couple of weeks.
Yeah,
something like
that's
that.
Rod's driving that bus, right?
Pardon?
Is Rod kind of got that
Yeah,
initiated?
yes.
So Bill, these 3 trees that you referred to that are possibly compromising the new pergola, is it an access issue that you can't get up there to replace it because those trees are in the way, or?
Well,
I guess I could walk down there and take a look.
you can walk down there and take a look, or you can help me do the work occasionally.
do that.
However, we have photographs of gigantic limbs in the past that have fallen from a couple of these particular trees that took out a whole section of the pergola, plus one of the stone columns. I think it only pertinent that, look, we're doing a lot of work over there and spending a lot of work on all this material and stuff. I have,
Yeah.
I have to protect it.
Yeah, I think that what we're looking for here is a commitment from this body that we address these invasives.
Yeah.
And I know we're having a meeting on Wednesday, Wednesday, whenever,
Yeah.
to kind of meet with Ben and say, here's the guidance we've got. Do we
Let's get a
agree with
plan
this
together,
guidance?
yes,
And
right.
let's move forward with it.
Right.
So
You sent around
by-
good material,
by
we've all
Ju-
looked
by
at the
Ju-
material.
By July 1st, when we can treat the trees.
Start to treat the trees.
We can have them identified, we have the chemicals or whatever it is, we have the necessary permits or whatever it takes. so
Right.
that- And we know these get sprayed, these get whatever that other deal's called, and we have a plan.
Yeah.
I'm optimistic. I think that what I got from Jason Brown Knight, I thought was really comprehensive. And I think it's something we can get done.
It's going to be a long process, though. This is not something that's just going to be lickety-split. We're going to get
Yeah,
all
but I
this.
think we would all feel better.
If we had a
If
start.
we're sitting here in August and we know
Yeah.
that these trees have all had at least one treatment.
Right, right. Yeah,
Well, it's gonna be an ongoing process. It's
Exactly.
Something that we're gonna have to
Yeah.
do continually over time, and maintenance issue,
Yeah,
to eradicate.
Right.
And it's gonna take, it's not gonna happen overnight.
right.
It's not just a few.
Maybe more than one season.
Oh,
too.
yeah, absolutely.
Mhm.
Ongoing. I had a question about the tennis courts. We just resurfaced some of the courts last year. Are the cracks you're talking about on different courts?
Yeah, it's
The lower ones?
6, 7, 5, 6, and 7.
Okay.
So the two lower courts and I will tell you, we looked at 7 and 7 is in terrible shape. My guess is, I asked Chris to bid it out separately. We may look at 7 and say, we just simply can't do it. It's not worth it, because it's really bad.
Really? Okay.
So which are the two lower courts, Randy? 5, 6?
5, 6,
Okay,
and then 7 is the one that goes
Yeah.
sideways.
okay, thanks.
So he's getting a bid, did I hear that? Yeah, okay. All right, and miscellaneous, we have nothing in miscellaneous this,
We need to do,
oh, I'm sorry, yeah. Well, all this loose talk about everything, trees and everything, geez. All right, you've heard the report, we've had the discussion, I need a motion and a second to accept the report.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Air,
Aye.
Mr. Bartlett,
Aye.
Dr. Lewis,
Aye.
Mr. Van Stone,
Aye.
Mr. York.
aye.
All right, that report will be accepted. All right, we have a couple of resolutions tonight.
Okay, this is
Aye.
the second reading to appoint Douglas Semke as a member of the Architectural Review Board for calendar years 2024 and 2025.
All right, that's the second reading. Any discussion? We all know, Doug, we all know what we're doing here. All right, we'll have the third reading next time.
Okay, this is the second reading, authorizing an increase in the building permit schedule of fees.
All right, that's the second reading. Any discussion? I think he's got the increases printed on the back there if anyone forgets. All right,
Okay, this is the second reading to authorize adoption of a premium-only insurance plan.
okay, Rob, I know you had a question about that. Were you
Joni took-
satisfactorily?
yep, Joni took
You're
care of
good?
it.
Good? All right,
All right. This is the second reading, a resolution authorizing the village to file applications to Public Utilities Commission of Ohio for gas and electric aggregation and to declare emergency.
all right, you've had the first reading. I need a motion and a second to suspend the rules and allow for the second and third readings,
So
Just the
moved,
third reading.
for the third reading.
so moved.
Second.
Second, Mr. Air,
Aye.
Mr. Bartlett,
Aye.
Dr. Lewis,
Aye.
Mr. Van Stone.
Aye.
Mr. York.
Aye.
All right,
Okay. This is the third reading, a resolution authorizing the village to file applications to Public Utilities Commission of Ohio for gas and electric aggregation and to declare emergency.
all right, we had the third reading. I need a motion and a second to adopt.
So moved.
Second.
All right, Mr. Air,
Aye.
Mr. Bartlett,
Aye.
Dr. Lewis,
Aye.
Mr. Van Stone,
Aye.
Mr. York.
Aye.
All right, I need a motion and a second to suspend the rules and allow for the emergency clause.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Air,
Aye.
Mr. Bartlett,
Aye.
Dr. Lewis,
Aye.
Mr. Van Stone,
Aye.
Mr. York.
Aye.
All right, that'll be adopted.
Okay. This is the first reading to authorize fiscal officer to advertise for bids for waste collection and to pay for advertising.
All right, we'll have second reading next, council.
Okay. Then I think this ordinance was the one that Rod had asked to be tabled.
Yeah, that was the obstructions in required rear yards,
No, the signage. Wasn't it the signage?
or the signage?
Yeah, the signage is not in the packet.
Yeah, you're right, signage is number one here.
Okay.
He
Yeah,
wants that.
that's-
We're tabling that?
Yeah, we're tabling that.
Do we need a motion for that? All right, a motion and a second to table.
So moved. Second.
All right, Mr. Air,
Aye.
Mr. Bartlett,
Aye.
Dr. Lewis.
Aye.
Mr. Van Stone.
Aye.
Mr. York.
Aye.
All right, moving on now to the rear yard obstruction, I believe.
Okay, this is the second reading to amend section 151.087, permitted obstructions in required yards, and add new section 151.07.1, .2, .3, .4, .5, .6, and .7.
That's a lot of points.
Yeah, this is trying to make a point.
Somebody's making a point. All right, we'll have the third reading next time.
Oh, what's the point?
Okay. This is the first reading, an ordinance authorizing application and contracting with the Southwest Ohio Regional Transit Authority.
All right, that's the first reading. Second reading next council. I believe, hey, Randy, look at the time.
Oh,
I
Randy.
I revised mine to 7:15.
Can we do it?
Yeah, did you?
Do it.
No more, yeah, we're done. We're done. All right, we're adjourned.
Thank you.
So Price is Right rules. Sorry, dude, it was 7:14.
Randy said 7:15, you're right on the money.
No, Rick, it was 7:14. He loses.